Good morning. Welcome to First Parish Brewster Unitarian Universalist. Our congregation was founded in 1700, but has continuously changed and grown to respect and cherish all the world's religions, as well as the insights of modern science. We do remember science, don't we? We call ourselves seekers after truth and practical goodness because the one thing we can all be sure about is that none of us has all the answers. We do, however, believe in the power of questions. Questions we ask ourselves, curiosity we hold out for one another, and inquiries about how to make this world a better place, one word and deed at a time. My name is Margaret Rice Moyer, and I use she, her pronouns. I am happily joined in the service this morning by the Reverend Christopher McMahon. Reverend Christopher was a member of First Parish Brewster from 1986 to 1991. And that was the spark, he says, that, right? Part of the spark that led to him becoming a minister. We are so grateful to have you. At the time, he was a sea captain sailing aboard commercial ships engaged in worldwide trade. Chris is also a Rear Admiral in the U.S. Maritime Service and served in this capacity in several senior executive positions with the Department of Transportation. He is a graduate of the United States Merchant Marine Academy and has graduate degrees from other colleges and universities, including Starr King School for the Ministry. Chris has been serving part-time as a minister for over 30 years and is currently the minister with the Unitarian Universalist Meeting House in Chatham. He lives with his wife, Virginia, in Woodstock, Connecticut, and Brewster, Mass. Welcome. No. Okay. Before we begin, I'd like to offer our gratitude to Kaisa and our brilliant singers, Jen, Marie, and Cindy. Thank you, Cindy, for being here and bringing your talent. And Libana for sharing their music gifts with us this morning. There is a short note about the offertory music on the back of your service. I hope that you will check it out so you know the kind of the sacred origins of the music. We would also like to thank Anna and our CYM volunteers for their work with our young people, to the greeters, the ushers, our tech team, and the members of Cove. We send our thanks to the coffee hour folks and the snacks crew. We are delighted to receive the gifts of your time, talent, and treasure. Now, let us give an enthusiastic and visible welcome to our online friends. We are so glad you've decided to join us this morning. If you are visiting with us, please take a moment to fill out the information card in the pew in front of you so that we can stay in touch. And please stick around for coffee hour so we can get to know you. Some very, very important announcements. September 19th, mark your calendars, here at this meeting house, we are hosting a Democracy Day festival. We want that, don't we? There will be speakers, food, and fun for all. Details are coming, but consider this an absolute save the date. September better than me. Mark your calendars. And there's also an information table that will be available at coffee hour. Please stop by and gather information about this really incredible, exciting event. Snow has arrived. Our annual Summer is Not Over program for local area kids will mean no parking over at Winslow House. You're encouraged to park out next to the solar field for these next 2 weeks. Thanks for your support. For more events, please turn to the back of the order of service and our weekly email newsletter. And now, won't you please join me in coming into the present by taking a deep breath in and letting it out. And once again, in and out. Let us prepare our hearts and minds for worship. We light our chalice this morning with the words of the former president of the UUA, William Schultz. Come into this place of peace and let its silence heal your spirit. Come into this place of memory and let its history warm your soul. Come into this place of prophecy and power and let its vision change your heart. Children's? Not yet. Oh, okay. Affirmation. So I would ask you at this time to join me in the affirmation. In the interest of time, I don't think we'll do the trying to reconcile which side says what. So I'll say the bold and you say the italics, or if you feel like doing it differently, do it differently. We believe in love.
Love is the doctrine of this church.
We believe in truth.
The quest for truth is a sacrament.
We believe in helping others.
And service is our prayer.
We believe in the sacredness of life.
To the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine.
Thank you. And again, in the interests of time, can we just turn to a person sitting next to us and greet our neighbors? Just a short hello this morning. We thank you for that discipline.
All right, let's sing together. Please rise in body or spirit. And your gray hymnal has 347, Gather the Spirit.
Spirit,
bless you. Good morning. All right, so I want everybody, child and adults, to lift your finger up and make a circle. Is it perfect? Mine's like an egg lopsided. So, just like our imperfection in our circle that we make, right? We started in this universe with an imperfection. If we didn't, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't imperfect, right? So imagine the years many years ago, and the universe looked kind of lumpy, right? And then you have gravity, right? And if you didn't have a lumpy in the universe, the gravity couldn't pull everything together to create this world, right? So long before us, long before Cape Cod, we all got pulled together, right? But it's because of the imperfections that we're here. Also, if you think about the way that you write, the way that you talk, is it perfect every time? Nope. When you see an envelope and someone has written you a letter, you know oftentimes that is from that certain person because of the imperfections in their handwriting. Because if it all looked the same, it would be dull, right? Those imperfections make us who we are, right, from the very beginning of time. So when we're feeling like, I should have made something perfect, I should do this over and over again, it has to be perfect, the imperfections make it you. It doesn't mean don't try, right? Don't try to be better and do better and all of that. That's part of the process, part of life, right? Trying to be kinder, trying to do better, right? But those imperfections make you you. Thank you.
This morning's offertory will benefit the Jewish Voice for Peace Leadership and Culture Lab, JVP Lab, which works towards building a Judaism beyond Zionism by providing arts and cultural events, religious and ritual resources, and leadership development and political education. This organization was nominated by the Peaceful World Task Force. Your offering will benefit this group and its important work, as well as First Parish Brewster Unitarian Universalist. Make all checks out to FPBUU with split plate in the memo line. Please write a separate check for pledge payments, and you may also text to give. This morning's offertory will now begin.
All I know is love. 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 All I know is love.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. So our first reading is entitled Little Imperfections by Michael Tobin. As I lay in bed, I can't help but notice the little imperfections, the chip in my dresser, the small crack in my wall, the poster tilted ever so slightly to the left, the flickering light, the scratch on my phone, the poorly organized folders, the stitching of my flannel coming loose, the fact that my left foot is bigger than my right, the scar on my left pointed finger, the fact that my left ring finger bends to the right, the fact that the paint on my ceiling is wider in certain areas. As I lay here noticing the little imperfections, I come to a realization: little imperfections don't cause a system to fail. My room is still a room. I'm still living, it seems. Imperfections, rather than the system as a whole, are okay. Imperfections don't impact the system. Please join me in a few moments of quiet meditation. Our second reading is entitled Imperfections by Dr. Penpen, a Filipino physician. Imperfections, oh, how they haunt the human heart, the human thought. We strive for perfection, yet we fall short, and in our flaws we are caught. We yearn for beauty, for flawless grace, but it's the imperfections that give us our unique face. We paint over our blemishes, cover up our scars, but it's these imperfections that make us who we are. We dream of a life without a single flaw, but it's the cracks in our armor that make us stand tall. For in our imperfections there lies our strength, our struggles, our battles, our journey's length. We compare ourselves to others, to those we deem perfect, but little do we know their imperfections are just as hectic. We hide behind masks, afraid to show our true selves, but it's our imperfections that we find our true wealth. For every mistake, every flaw, every imperfection adds depth and character to our unique reflection. We're not meant to be flawless, for that's not real. It is our imperfections that make us feel. They make us feel alive, feel human, feel raw and true. For without imperfections, what would we do? We'd be like robots, perfect but cold. But it's our imperfections that make us bold. So embrace your imperfections, let them shine, for they are what make you one of a kind. Let go of the pressure to be perfect, to be flawless, for in our imperfections lies our true beauty, our true awesomeness. Imperfections, they may seem to be like a curse, but they are a blessing. They make our life diverse. So let go of the need to be flawless and perfect, for in our perfections, we are truly worth it. Well, hello again. Just move my little platform for my vertical issues. It really is a true delight for me to be here today and share with you some thoughts on imperfections. I haven't been here in this space for 35 years. Lots of water under the keel since then, as they say. Some of the older members here may remember Reverend Peter Fleck. Does anybody remember him? Okay, that's great. I'm glad some of you still remember him. That shows we're wise as we get a little bit older, right? I hope. Peter Fleck was an associate minister with the congregation back in the 1980s when I was a member here. And Reverend Peter Fleck went on to have a profound effect on the founding of my current congregation in Chatham. He was instrumental in helping with the founding of my congregation, my current congregation. He wrote a book called The Blessings of Imperfection, which I've really never forgotten, and hence some of the thoughts I'm sharing with you today. So let me begin to tell you about some of his ideas and mine. Quote, "And the woman said to the serpent, 'We may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but God said, you shall not eat of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Neither shall you touch it, lest you die.' But the serpent said to the woman, 'You shall not die, for God knows that when you eat of it, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil, knowing the world is not perfect.' So when the woman saw the tree was good for food, and it was delight to the eyes, and that the tree was to be desired to make one wise, she took its fruit and ate, and also gave some to her husband to eat. Then both of their eyes were opened, and they knew they were naked and imperfect. And they sewed fig leaves together and made themselves aprons. Then the Lord God said, 'Behold, the man has become like one of us, knowing good and evil and imperfection. And now, lest he put forward his hand and take also the tree of life and eat and live forever, we will send him forth from the Garden of Eden.' He drove out the man at the east of the gate of the Garden of Eden, and he placed a cherubim and a flaming sword which turned every way to guard the way to the tree of life." Unquote. The interesting thing here, if you've ever read the creation myth in the book of Genesis, there isn't any indication God created a perfect world. The sentence says it was good, but it doesn't say it was perfect. By making the decision to eat of the tree of knowledge of good and evil and carrying this out, Adam and Eve discovered that the world wasn't perfect. And for the first time, they realized they were naked. It's interesting to note that God says in the story that because of this, humans have become like one of us. God apparently knows what imperfection is, according to the story. Cosmologists today know that built into the very fabric of creation is imperfection. Following the instant of creation, some 13.8 billion years ago, or 26 billion years ago, as some astrophysicists are saying in recent months, the early universe was comprised of both matter and antimatter, which were highly charged particles. This is right at the beginning of the universe. Matter has a positive charge, and antimatter has a negative charge. When the two come together and touch each other, they annihilate each other, giving off vast amounts of energy. Had the matter and antimatter been uniform, the early universe would have completely destroyed itself almost immediately. But it wasn't uniform. It wasn't perfect. There was more positively charged particles than negatively charged particles. So the universe was able to survive in the early moments of creation and eventually create the matter that would become stars and planets and life and us. The very fact that, think about this, the very fact that evolution is an inevitable force in the unfolding development of the universe and life itself is clear evidence that imperfection is embedded in the forces of the universe. Otherwise, there wouldn't be any need for evolution. The universe strives for perfection and continually changes and adapts in an attempt to become perfect. It's an ongoing process, and it's a never-ending process. Human beings know the world is not a perfect place, yet we always seem to endeavor to make it so. We often feel disempowered when we're subject to the world's imperfections. Imperfections cause us to question the world around us and to try to fathom why evil and sadness and despair exist at all. The fact that we have emotions is a result of the imperfection in the universe. If we were perfect, we'd be happy all the time. Or maybe we'd have no feelings at all because we'd have no understanding of sadness and pain. In a perfect world, bad things would not happen to good people. Sickness and disease and death would not exist. Evil wouldn't exist, and nothing but goodness would pervade all of reality. It's the imperfections in the universe that enable all of these things to occur. Knowing that imperfection is an ever-present and pervading reality in the universe, many religions of the world, and certainly the God religions of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, have created an eventual paradise, heaven, where good human beings will go when they die. Free from the shackles of an imperfect world, humans will live forever in a blissful paradise which will be perfect, a place of total goodness where evil and the forces of the imperfect will not exist. If we look at the Eastern religions, particularly Buddhism and Hinduism, the philosophy of an eventual perfect existence is similar in some sense to the Western heaven, particularly in some forms of Buddhism. Both Hinduism and Buddhism recognize that the world is not a perfect place. Both believe that it is really we humans who create imperfections through our actions and our inactions. Both Hinduism and Buddhism believe in four noble truths. Life is filled with suffering, which is the result of imperfection. Suffering is a result of desire, in a sense, the desire for perfection, which will produce happiness. And suffering can be eliminated by ceasing to desire. Ceasing to desire can be realized by following the Eightfold Path. This is in Buddhism. That would be right views, right intention, right speech, right effort, right livelihood, right mindfulness, and right concentration. The ultimate goal of both the Hindu and the Buddhist is to achieve moksha, which is the word in Hinduism, nirvana in Buddhism, which are sort of the same things, kind of. It's defined as a kind of a snuffing out, but it's not non-existence. It's rather a total separation from the imperfect world, a realization that the universe is but an illusion, a realization that all is one. In Hinduism, the realization that everything in the universe, including us, is nothing but a different manifestation of God, or Brahman, as they call it. When I met Peter Fleck, I was intrigued with his book on imperfection. Peter Fleck and his wife Ruth were extraordinary people. Those of you that remember Peter know what I'm talking about. They were Dutch and they were Jewish. They escaped the Nazi peril in the 1930s and came to America. They settled in New Jersey, and Peter became a very successful banker. Then they retired to the Cape many years later, and along the way, Peter completed seminary. One of the marvelous realities of imperfection, Reverend Peter often said, was that imperfection produces creativity and messiness all at the same time. And the messiness to which Reverend Fleck was referring to is the inability of many humans to accept how the world works, to acknowledge that evil and sadness coexist along with goodness and joy. He said it's sometimes hard for us to acknowledge this. And he told the story of his 4-year-old grandson, Benjamin. It seems that at age 4, Benjamin told his mother about an imaginary farm where Benjamin was the owner. One day he was describing the farm to his mother, and he explained how the vet came by and cut off a piece of the hoof of a cow, and now she had a calf. Benjamin's mother decided this was a good opportunity to explain the realities of life. And I'm not so sure that was good with a 4-year-old, but so she proceeded to explain how reproduction really happened. She embarked on the long story of how a sperm and an egg are joined in the womb and create an embryo, and how a calf is eventually born between the cow's legs. You see, Benjamin, she said, this is how it really happens. Whereupon, Benjamin looked her straight in the eye and said, not on my farm, it doesn't. Priceless. This is why you don't do this with a 4-year-old. As Reverend Fleck noted, at his age, his grandson, like many people at any age, are just not able to accept the world as imperfect, that creativity is joined with messiness, that life is ambiguous. And Reverend Fleck gave another example. It is said, he explained, that when the souls of the dead enter heaven, the angels play the music of Bach, but among themselves they play Mozart. Why? Because the young Mozart was portrayed in the movie Amadeus as a vulgar little man who loved 4-letter words and to behave accordingly. So again, we're confronted with imperfection, a combination of incredible creativity combined with vulgarity and impropriety. Western religions and societies have always struggled to understand the imperfections that are inherent in the world. Why do bad things happen to good people? How could a loving God allow such sadness and misery to pervade the world? Why do people suffer so much, as we see today taking place in so many places around the world and in our country too? Many forms of fundamentalist Christianity offer an explanation. By choosing to disobey God and eat of the tree of knowledge and life as described in the book of Genesis, some conservative Christian faiths suggest Adam and Eve enabled evil and imperfection to enter the world, thus making the world an evil place controlled by the devil. In this view, the world is nothing but the workshop of the devil. And the devil spends his time influencing and controlling human beings. As the expression says, in Adam's fall we sin all. That's a very common conservative expression. By the way, the notion of original sin and the reason baptism was established in early Christianity is because of that belief. The idea that the world is an evil and imperfect place, best to be avoided, was reinforced in conservative Christianity in the early 20th century too. Throughout the latter part of the 19th century, liberal Christianity, including the Unitarians and the Universalists, promoted the idea that proactive means, by proactive means, humanity and science and technology could make the world a better place. It was through this thinking that the social gospel movement was started in the latter part of the 19th century. The social gospel movement called for the creation of institutions and organizations like charities, which were only first created really then, designed to combat pain and suffering, disease and despair. Religious conservatives were aghast. The world was imperfect because Adam and Eve had made it so. The purpose of life was to save your soul, pay homage to God, and await redemption in a perfect heavenly paradise. Then, in the early 20th century, World War I killed millions of people and bankrupted Europe. Fundamentalist Christians felt confirmed in their beliefs regarding regarding the evils of the word. And that's when the term fundamentalism started. It started in 1917 when some two wealthy were brothers that made their money in oil. And they sent encyclopedias to every minister in the United States on how it all was. It was ultra-conservative Christianity, and they were called the fundamentals, and that's when the word fundamentalism was coined in 1917. To the liberals, they said, all your science and technology and social gospel actions have only resulted in massive destruction. and millions of human beings being killed. And so the fundamentalists retrenched in their beliefs, and many of the so-called Christians, including the Unitarians and the Universalists, still separate, shunned the idea of God. In their view, no loving God, it was thought, would enable such destruction and sadness and despair to happen. From this, the Unitarians and the Universalists focused on humanism, and in my words, they threw God out of the pulpit. It wasn't that either denomination was atheistic, but merely that many congregations chose to remove God from the mainstay of consideration and thought. Yet other Christians took an entirely different approach. While acknowledging the imperfection in the world and the existence of evil and the fact that bad things do indeed happen to people, other liberal Christians considered that maybe God has limited power over creation by design. The world was imperfect because God had made it so. And God itself was continuing to evolve just as the universe evolved. This philosophy is called process philosophy, and it was championed by Alfred North Whitehead, who was a British mathematician and philosopher. In Whitehead's view, the universe is imperfect, is an imperfect place that is in constant evolution and change. God, as the source of the universe, is similarly growing and changing too. God experiences the universe as we do. When a human being is happy, so too is God. When humans are suffering and tragedy occurs, God weeps along with those who suffer. The nature of creation is such that God cannot interfere, or freedom of thought and action could not occur. Godly intervention in creation would destroy the orderly flow of scientific law that molds and governs the cosmos. Personally, I do not see that which is called God as a being at all. I do not think it is a thing or a being. In my view, it is the universe itself, kind of like what the Hindus call Brahman, a force, a something embedded in all things in the universe, including all the laws of the universe, and you and me. And by the way, don't confuse the word Brahman, because there's 3 words that sound really similar. Brahma is the creator god in the Hindu pantheon, the trimurti of Brahma, the creator, Vishnu, the preserver, and Shiva, the destroyer. And then there's Brahmin, which is the highest social caste in India. But those two are not Brahman. Brahman is God. And that's why Hindus are very comfortable using the word God. When you hear a Hindu use the word God, they're talking about Brahman, which is, they say, is undefinable. It is the universe itself. You can't know what it is because it's manifested in all things. And actually, all their gods and goddesses, they think, are just manifestations of that. So they're kind of polytheistic, but not so much so. And so we're left in a bit of a quandary. We must acknowledge that the universe is indeed an imperfect place. Along with the beauty and the goodness that permeates the world, we know and see evil and destruction and pain and suffering. We're forced to come to terms with why this is so. For those who see the workings of a god or gods in the universe, they must come to terms with why a god or gods could or would allow the world to be imperfect. For those that see no god or gods as influencing the world, maybe it's easier to understand why the world's imperfect. Maybe. In either case, the reality of imperfection is apparent. And yet, it is imperfection that's also the engine of growth and change and the enabler of love and joy. By our nature, we human beings want perfection, and we constantly strive for it. It's kind of built into us. The athlete who conditions their body and who spends endless hours of practice strives for athletic perfection. The scientist who spends a lifetime exploring the workings of the universe is seeking perfect knowledge of why things work the way they do. The lover in search of a mate seeks a perfect match. And of course, imperfections all around us. We cannot be perfect, and we cannot find perfection for those that are not found in the universe we live in. There's nothing inherently wrong with seeking the perfect, but if we do not acknowledge the reality of imperfection, we can never be happy. It would be like a drowning person who cannot swim, the chance of saving themselves isn't going to happen. Accepting imperfection, in some cases celebrating it, is an essential act of pursuing happiness. Let's start with our body, just for example. What defines a perfect body? Well, depends upon the culture you are born and raised in. Being overweight is a sign of beauty and success in some cultures, but not in others. Big noses are attractive in some cultures, but not others. The size of a person, the color of their eyes, the shape of their features, what is considered perfect varies considerably from culture to culture. So too is what is considered imperfect. Frankly, it is imperfection in the human animal that causes us to look different, to have different skills and abilities, and for each of us to be totally unique in all the world. It is imperfection that enables variety to exist. Wouldn't a perfect race of human beings be rather boring? It would be almost like a race of robots, all identical in appearance, and none striving to be better than they are because they're already perfect. Sadly, we're bombarded every day by images of what is considered perfect, even though these are always culturally driven. Not knowing the reality of imperfections, some people, often young people, are driven to despair because they see themselves as not perfect, or not perfect like others their age. We see this in images of young, skinny teenage girls. Some girls think that if they do not conform to the marketing image of a teenage girl, that they're somehow lesser people. At this stage in life, young people often do not understand the blessings of imperfection. And by the way, unfortunately, social media promotes this too much now. It is a serious problem. The very act of loving another person, think about that. The very act of loving another person involves the acceptance of imperfection, if not a wholesale embrace of another's imperfection. Stop and think about it. How could anyone love a perfect person? It's through understanding another's failures and shortcomings that we can exercise love. The wife or husband who watches their spouse's great disappointment at failing at some professional task. The husband or wife who sees the frustration of their spouse when they cannot get their teenage daughter to understand their point of view. The parents who see their child fail in school. All of these things elicit love, for it is in acknowledging the imperfections in others that we are joined to them as co-voyagers in the journey of life. Alfred North Whitehead would have said that God does exactly the same thing. God participates in the imperfection of the universe. From a personal standpoint, it is imperfection that enables us to grow and change as people. Were we perfect, there would be no reason, no cause to grow and to change. It is through our own failures and our own imperfections that we can make choices that can enable us to grow in mind and spirit. And it is through pain and suffering and catastrophe that we embrace love and truly make a difference in the world, changing it for the better. Today, we see countless stories of this taking place in so many places around the world. In reviewing Reverend Fleck's material on the imperfections of the world, I was struck by the story he told of Pearl Buck, the Pulitzer Prize-winning American author who became the first American woman to be awarded the Nobel Prize in Literature for her work in describing China in the 1930s. Ms. Buck had a daughter in 1920. Sadly, this daughter had a rare brain disease which resulted in severely decreased mental capabilities. Unable to accept this, Ms. Buck spent years trying in vain to find a cure for her daughter. Finally, she accepted there was nothing she could do for her daughter, but there was a lot she could do for the children of China born from a mixed-race background and shunned by their culture. Over time, she adopted 9 mixed-race children, and in 1949, she established Welcome House, the first international interracial adoption agency. Since its inception, Welcome House found loving homes for more than 7,000 children. From the depths of sadness and despair over the affliction of her daughter, Pearl Buck went on to profoundly infuse love and compassion into the lives of thousands of people, and her legacy lives on today. Because of the changes in international adoption laws, Welcome House closed in 2014, but her foundation continues to bring cultures and societies together today. The imperfection of our universe is everywhere apparent, particularly in human beings. While we can be proud of our inherent abilities at innovation, we must also acknowledge our capability to create misery and suffering and death. The 20th century was filled with scientific achievement. We learned to conquer a large number of human diseases. We learned to eradicate a lot of human hunger and suffering around the world. Yet at the same time, we developed technologies that killed 100 million people in the decade around World War II. In the 20th century, we witnessed unspeakable acts of human depravity, characterized by the Holocaust in Germany, in Cambodia, in Africa, in the Balkans, and in other places. It's all too easy to become cynical in studying human history. It does take effort to retain a positive view of humanity in light of the misery and suffering caused by human beings. It's easy to dismiss a sacred presence in the universe, a divine spark, a force that underlies all of creation. For how and why would such a force enable such tragic suffering to be part of any universe? The answer is, perfection would not allow growth and change. It would not allow creativity and genius. It would not allow love and hope to overcome hatred and despair. Yes, hatred and despair and tragedy are realities, but so too are the forces of love and compassion that can overcome them at times that are seemingly impossible. In his work, Man's Search for Meaning, the noted physician and psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor, Dr. Viktor Frankl wrote one of his moments in the concentration camp. We stumbled on in darkness over big stones and through large puddles, along the one road leading from the camp. The accompanying guards kept shouting at us and driving us on with the butts of their rifles. Along with anyone with sore feet supported himself on his neighbor's arm. Hardly a word was spoken. The icy wind did not encourage talk. Hiding his mouth behind his upturned collar, the man marching next to me whispered, "If our wives could only see us now. I do hope they are better off in their camps and don't know what's happening to us." A thought transfixed me. For the first time in my life, I saw the truth as it is set into song by so many poets, proclaimed as a final wisdom by so many thinkers, the truth that love is the ultimate and the highest goal to which humanity can aspire. Then I grasped the meaning of the greatest secret that human poetry and human thought and belief have to impart. The salvation of man is through love and in love. I understood how a man who has nothing left in this world still may know bliss, be it only for a brief moment, in the contemplation of his beloved. In a position of utter desolation, when a man cannot express himself in positive action, when his only achievement may consist of enduring his sufferings in the right way, an honorable way, in such a position, man can, through the loving contemplation of the image he carries of his beloved, achieve fulfillment. For the first time in my life, I was able to understand the meaning of the words, "The angels are lost in perpetual contemplation of an infinite glory." Sorry, I always get emotional when I read this. The universe and our world is not a perfect place, but is in their imperfections, there is holiness and salvation in this world. The blessings of imperfection are all around us. We need only open our hearts and our minds to unlock the secrets that lie within, secrets that can enable our spirits to follow the bridge across forever. Peace be with you.
Let's join together for our closing hymn. It's from the Teal hymnal, 1014. And we sing Answering the Call of Love. The composer rewrote that from Standing on the Side of the Love to Answering the Call of Love. So when you turn to the third and fourth page, please replace those lyrics. Let's rise in body or spirit.
Our chalice extinguishing words come today from Irene Glass, who writes, "As we extinguish our chalice, may we remember the flame of life in all things, the bright center of our planet, the star that lights our world, and the way those points of brightness connect within us and within all things. May we carry the light, may we share it freely, may we find it everywhere."
Wherever you look in the world, you will find imperfection. You'll find it in nature, you'll find it in human beings, you'll find it everywhere in the universe. Imperfection is actually how our universe and our own lives came to be. Sure, it's good to strive to become better, to strive to reach perfection. But as Salvador Dali said, have no fear of perfection because you'll never reach it. There are blessings of imperfection. They can help us all to make the world a better place. Peace be with you.